What is the greatest comeback to an insult you've ever heard? Here's my favorite self-burn. In high school math class, a nice, nerdy guy named Richard, a jerk whose name I forget. Let's call him Jerk. Okay. Jerk keeps calling Richard Dick. Like, hey, Dick, did you get the answer to number 4? Richard keeps calmly saying, it's Richard. Finally, the teacher says, Richard, what do you prefer to be called? Richard says, I prefer Richard. Jerk says, well, I prefer Dick. After a few seconds of uproarious laughter from the rest of the class, Jerk realized what he said and sunk down as far in the seat as possible and never bugged Richard again. This wasn't an insult personally, but it was a comeback on behalf of a nation. My father is Irish and he used to work in California. One day, a particularly condescending colleague complimented my dad's work by saying, I never thought I'd get to meet an intelligent Irishman, to which my dad replied, hopefully someday I'll be as fortunate with the Americans, which went completely over his colleague's head, which is, just mwah. Perfection. That's the epitome of a cherry on top. You dress like a grandpa. That's why your mom calls me daddy. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. Before we really get too far into it, just take a shot every time someone's mom gets thrown out there. Why not? I once gave a classmate a penny and told him it always feels nice to give money to the poor. He responds with, thanks man, now I can fuck your ass mom and still get the change. I was at a friend's place with a lot of people I really didn't know too well, having a few beers. Suddenly, this dude from across the table says to me, quite aggressively, that my suspenders were ugly and that they made me look like I was trying too hard, which, to be fair, I was. Without skipping a beat, I stood up, unclipped my suspenders, and put them in my pocket. When I sat down, I looked straight into his eyes and replied, now let's talk about that face tattoo of yours. God damn. My former friend was 12 years my senior. Who talks like this? And she fancied herself. Oh, okay. It makes sense now. And she fancied herself pretty heavily. She was okay, but I don't doubt anyone was losing sleep over her. Dressed way too young, trying to hold on to her youth. One day she pointed out that I was overweight and dumpy looking next to her. I finally had enough. She made these comments pretty often, and I said, well, what about you? Excuse me, she snapped. I have the body of a 22-year-old. Well, give it back. You're stretching it out. We got a little classic here from Casablanca. You despise me, don't you? If I ever gave you any thought, I might. My sister, when she was 13, maybe 12, she was fighting with my little brother, 3 years older than her, and he was being aggressive and mean, and she clearly yells, I'd call you a dick, but you're so fake, you're a dildo. Ouch. Someone once told me I look like the kind of guy who pisses sitting down. I told him he looks like the kind of guy who shits standing up. I mean, hey man, there's two sides to that coin and you definitely didn't get tails. Today in one of my classes, we were working on a project about careers and one of the kids shouted, I want to be a male stripper. The teacher responded, I think you might be missing some of the qualifications for the job. The teacher said that. Similarly, I was making jokes about this one guy in my class, just going back and forth annoying each other. Then I was like, you don't even know what you're doing. You're gonna have to sell yourself on the streets. And my teacher overheard and deadass went, but who would pay? Man, there is really nothing worse than the teacher burn, right? That's the teacher roast, because that's in front of everyone at your lowest point. I have read this. I hate people who write out, I have whatever. Like, it's I've read this historical meme where it went like this. I hate this writing. British person, you French people fight for only money. We, British, fight for honor. French person, well, people fight for what they need the most. Yeah, well, you know what, stuff, you need to fucking change how you type, my guy. My favorite when I was younger, people like to call others gay as an insult. When other kids would ask, are you gay? I think you're gay. I'd simply reply, nah, don't go getting your hopes up. A friend of mine in first year university had never really dated any girls yet. This dumb meathead that we were kind of friends with told him, when you do get a girlfriend, I'm totally gonna fuck her. He responded, if I had a girlfriend that would fuck you, her cheating on me wouldn't be the issue. The annoying kid of the grade had a spray bottle and it's his kindergarten, and kept on spraying it on people even though he'd asked them to stop. And some girl walked up to him and it went something like this. Dude, can you stop? Nah. Oh, is that the only way you can make a girl wet? Okay, wait, where's the line here? The kid's using a spray bottle, so he has the mentality of a kindergartner, but they're talking about wet girls. I'm very curious as to how old they were. Someone once told me I had a face only a mother could love. I responded with, yes, your mother. There's the moms again. Show 'em love. Show 'em love. I prefer you have a face for radio approach. I prefer you have a voice for radio. I said it once to someone helping me and he got a huge smile. What is happening? Why are we back to positivity? Alright, so it goes like this. I had a bully in high school who was tiny. That's a weird place to put an exclamation point. Like under 5 foot, that is too. I was 6'3" at the time, so he would always pick on me, throw stuff on my head, push me around, stuff like that. I'm confused. You were bullied because You're implying that you're bullied because you were 6'3" at the time. That makes no sense. I never fought back because I hate violence. Anyway, one day we were in a class together and the class went on lockdown. It wasn't a drill, but we were told the campus wasn't in danger, so jokingly I said, I know why we're locked down. Maybe the zombie apocalypse started, which in fairness is a stupid fucking joke. The bully immediately replies, you dumb zombies aren't real. I shot back, yeah, well, I didn't think hobbits were real, but you're standing here, aren't you? He lunged at me and got in trouble. From a drill instructor to another recruit in boot camp. Is that acne on your face or did you spend 9 months dodging the clothes hanger? Oh my god. I swear, I'll tell you, man, drill instructors, it has to be part of their job to just be relentlessly brutal at insulting. They're so good at it. My dear grandmother, she had a quick and a savage wit. My fiance and I held a meet the whole family get together at my house. It was the first time that his father met my grandmother. His father was a large, physically intimidating man with a beer gut. He began telling stories to my grandmother about how my fiance was a mischief maker when he was young, then told my grandmother how he would take off his belt and whip Joe for being bad. My frail little grandmother, what is with these descriptions, stares directly at my hubby's dad's tummy and says, your belt? How could you ever find it? Future father-in-law was gobsmacked. Sassy grandmas are the best grandmas. My science teacher assigned a really hard test and almost everyone failed. Everyone complained and she responded with, someone got a 93%, so it's not impossible. Then this one kid in the back said, the answer key doesn't count, Mrs. Teacher. In 8th grade, this kid yelled in the cramped hallway, hurry up and move, y'all smell like ass. What? To which I replied, it's because your mouth is too close to your nose. In my junior year of high school, this huge girl called me an ass wipe for no reason, so I said, you're just mad I can actually wipe my ass. I'm gonna use these. Yeah, see, take the resources that you're being given and apply them to your daily life. Kid in class on the spectrum somewhere knocks over a lab stool. Smart ass goes, haha, you knocked over your chair. Wow, what a dumb thing to say. Stuff like this usually sets him off. To my amazement, he replies, no, I laid it down just like I do with your mother. I gave him a high five. You know, very nice of you, beige redneck. I've been called much worse by people much better. A neighborhood kid was picking on my daughter and she replied with, I'm sorry you are so sad. Kid just walked away. Oh my god. Yeah, you're right, look, that's the type of thing that the bully will think of in the shower as an adult. Jesus Christ. I saw in another thread a long time ago a busy restaurant in LA that had a lot of people waiting to be seated. Some has-been celebrity played the don't you know who I am card with the host who promptly responded, honey, I don't know who you are, I know who you used to be. Not quite an insult, but I still think of this comeback to this day. I have 2 little brothers and it was my dad's birthday, so the semi-extended family were all at a restaurant to celebrate. I had just graduated from my dad's alma mater, hope I pronounced that right, and my middle brother was currently a junior there. My youngest brother, a freshman, however, opted to go to state school. At one point, my uncle says, so, youngest brother, how does your dad feel about you breaking the trend of our last name, men going to alma mater? My little bro thought for a moment and then said, well, he probably doesn't mind considering I also broke the trend of not being able to get higher than a 3.0. Yikes. The table exploded and my older brother and I just stared at each other across the table like, holy f***, did we just get brutally murdered. A's are nice, but C's get degrees. D stands for degree, D for done, D for doctor. These right here, folks. The real intellectuals of our society. I don't go down to the docks and take sailors' dicks out of your mouth, so why do you hassle me at my work? Which reminds me, if you're wondering what my favorite is, if you want my comeback, you're going to have to scrape it off your mom's teeth. You're the reason the gene pool needs a lifeguard. You inbred. Shit, that's funny. While I was in middle school many years ago, a bully was teasing an awkward kid about not being able to get girls and being gay and never being able to get laid. Another bully spoke up to the first bully and said, "Bitch, you ain't had pussy since pussy had you." I don't know why. I imagined Chris Rock saying that. And the entire class, the rest doesn't matter. Lunch lady got me in front of my whole class. Tuna fish was for lunch. I said, "Tuna fish? I'd rather eat a shit sandwich." Without missing a beat, this 80-year-old lady fires back, "Wait right here, I can make you one in the back." So tell me, Ranger, does your ass ever get jealous of the shit that comes out of your mouth? In the words of that guy, is your head up your ass for the warmth? Is it that cold in the winter snow? Sitting in the bar at 3 a.m. off of Bourbon Street, the windows are just open shutters. The dude who just left the bar leans in on our table to shout at some friends still in the bar. One of our group makes a silly, snide comment. Dude leaning in smacks the table with an open palm and says, "Everybody who ever loved you was wrong." And then he walks out. The best comeback I've heard was, "You are the human equivalent of a participation award." We got this dude speaking some Spanish, which roughly translates to, "Show some respect, boy. The only reason I'm not your dad is because your mom didn't have change for a 20. Anyone who's playing the drinking game, how dead are you? I would have been your daddy, but the dog beat me over the fence. Everyone thinks you're an asshole. Well, you know what everyone thinks about you? Nothing. No one ever thinks about you. I know I don't. Was once criticized by an older family member for having a stray tooth that gave me a little bit of a craggy smile as an adolescent. Nice crocodile smile. Thanks, Aunt Beth. It's just that tooth, you know? It makes your smile all crooked, but it's not bad. You could get it fixed. The subtlety. I suppose, but I know I'll never have teeth as nice as yours are. They're like stars. Like stars? You mean as in bright? No, as in they come out at night. Or as my sister told me, your teeth are like stars, yellow and far apart. I can't read. In a heated argument, my mom called my brother a son of a bitch. He replied, "You got that right." As a pain in the ass child, I was getting yelled at by my dad, probably for doing something dumb or dickheaded. My dad had had it with my bullshit and yelled, "Listen here, you son of a bitch." I retorted, "It's not very nice to talk about mom like that, Dad." What happened? Give him a bit to respond. He's typing one letter at a time from his specialized computer. A girl told me that if I took my shirt off at the beach, the glare would blind everyone because I was so pale. I told her, at least when I go to the beach, people don't try to push me back into the sea. I get it, because she's a fat fucking whale. Crockety old bat from my grandparents' church. Why can't you be more like Michael? He's such an angel. Me, a 15-year-old intellectual, those two things don't go together, who knew Michael did things that would straighten out the perm of her hair. If you'd actually read the Bible, you'd know Satan was an angel too. Crucified. Was jokingly asked to a 10-year formal prom in front of a whole class by a quote-unquote popular girl who definitely had no interest in actually going with me. I, without a moment's hesitation, say, "No thanks, Lauren. I have standards." Between my mom and dad, my shot fell a little short when it came to my dream girl. Babe, you're a plumber with almost no teeth and fat. You couldn't get your dream girl if you fucked her like a professional. And ladies and gentlemen, to end today's video off, we have the great Winston Churchill with a couple great bangers. Mr. Churchill, you're drunk. Yes, madam, and you are ugly, but tomorrow I shall be sober. We also got Winston, if you were my husband, I'd poison your tea. Nancy, if I were your husband, I'd drink it. Oh, great. Oh, he also apparently said, you can always count on the Americans to do the right thing after they've tried everything else. Oh my God. Is it an insult if it's true? Come on.